Yeah, so hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining. I guess for some of you very early, and for some others very late. So thank you very much for being here. Welcome to this Q&A webinar about the Open Innovation Challenge we are running with Venture Lab of NGK Sparkplug. So I'm Vincent Durand, or Vincent Durand, and I'm representing the Hello Tomorrow team dedicated to this Innovation Challenge. Our mission, as some of you might know, at Hello Tomorrow is to unlock the power or the potential of deep tech to help solve our toughest global challenges. And for that, what we do is that we run global challenges, we organize events, but also support corporate clients of ours in their innovation journey with consulting services. So I, anyway, won't keep the mic for myself too long, but just let me introduce you what's going to happen today. So we will present you what is this venture lab of NGK Sparkplug, and how this challenge fits in this huge Japanese company strategy. We'll obviously present the topics of the challenge, the eligibility criteria, what we're looking for, the timeline, and of course the value proposition for you, the potential applicants. And you will see that this company has a lot to offer. You'll hear from Michael Mangold, Innovation Project Manager at Venture Lab EMEA, that is here connected. Daniel Hinz, the head of Venture Lab EMEA, and more on the healthcare side of things from Glenn Davis, the Global General Manager for Smart Health. And we also have Jeff Rowe here, the General Manager of Smart Health at the Venture Lab. So it's really a pleasure to have you here and looking forward to your short presentation. So please don't hesitate. That's the whole idea of this webinar, to ask your questions in the dedicated questions tab that should be on the bottom right corner of your screen below the list of people or the chat. You can also use the chat to even comment, but really ask your questions. It's what today's all about. The best moment to engage with our speakers here. That being said, let me just, that being said, let me leave the stage and, or stay in the stage, but let Michael take over. Michael, if you're with us and ready, off you go.
Thank you. Yes, I am ready. It's also my pleasure to be here and being connected to the world. I started to see a few people chatting here, and actually, please put in your chat where you're calling in from. I mean, is it the US? Is it France? Is it Japan? Is it India? Feel free to put it in the chat. I think that could be interesting to see a little bit the audience. And I'm just going to jump in now with the presentation of NGK Sparkplug. So the first thing that we want to present today is our company and our history. Most of you may not have heard of us involving the healthcare sector. So that's why it requires some explanation. So we have a long history of success. The company was founded in 1936. At that time, it was a spin-out, and the spin-out product was the spark plug. So I don't know if you know what it is. It's what you put in any kind of combustion engines, and they are selling it now to all the automotive players in the world, but not only boats, trucks, motorbikes, agricultural equipment, and so on. But later on, they expanded with the brand NTK, and that's ceramic sensors that you also put in combustion engine, measuring oxygen, temperature, or nitric oxides. We expanded in ceramic substrates for the semiconductor industry, and then ceramic cutting tools for the metal industry. And also later in the 90s, we expanded in medical equipment such as ceramic orthopedics. So it's a $4 billion company. We have over 15,000 employees worldwide, and we have the highest grade quality materials. When you require piezoelectric capabilities, insulating materials, we have plasma technology in-house, but also sensors for a variety of applications. But as you know, this is a very typical company, but our world is facing new megatrends. And that includes the scarcity of water around the world, access to food, and good air quality is becoming luxury. As you may know, over 70% is still use for aquaculture, agriculture, and only 1 in 3 people, only 1 in 3 people do not have access to safe, clean drinking water. And regarding mobility, we are facing also a new shift. It's going towards case, connected, autonomous, shared, and electric, and that will impact millions of users around the world, metropolitan areas that will increase their security, but also sustainability. And last but not least, healthcare. We all know that we still live in a system that it's not really preventable. And according to several studies, around 40% of the major diseases in the US can be preventable and prevent death. So that's an opportunity for us to act towards these different problems. And that's exactly the mission of NGK Sparkplug in the Venture Lab, is to improve the quality of life of everyone in the world. And that's why we focus on 3 verticals in our innovation division. The first one is mobility. As you can see, we have utilities. We can also call it sustainability tech. And then we have healthcare. That's the topic of today's call and this Open Innovation International Startup Challenge. Just as a few examples of ventures we already launched on the market. One was a maintenance platform using an app that is connected to the car. In our utility section, we have a plasma air purifier already launched in Japan and the US. And one of the products that is right now under evaluation is a plasma hemostasis device that stops patients to bleed. So that's kind of the project we're working on. And now we are more than excited to explain you a bit further the topic and the goal of this startup challenge. But before that, Daniel is going to take over to explain a little bit of a huge ambition we have ahead of us.
Great. Thank you, Michael. And hello to everyone. More than happy that you joined today the webinar and take the chance to ask any questions that you want to ask to us today. So that's really nice. So what is the 3 options that we're looking at globally in our innovation unit? So the first thing is that we do the normal venture building. So we build startups from the scratch systematically, from the ideation through MVP building and also entering the market and then to scale it. So that's obviously also what you're going to do. Yeah, you build your startup, we build our startups, and we have many examples. Michael just showed some of them, how we have done that. And the second part is that we have a strategic investment fund with Pegasus Tech Ventures, who are for us managing 100 million fund for investment into startups in different series. It's not so early stage, but also some of them, but also obviously series A, B, and follow that up. And that's very important for us because we truly believe that innovation has to be fostered also outside the company and has to be driven by startups which are not so closely connected to corporates. And that's why also we talk today here with you guys, as we truly believe that this is a very important opportunity for us. And the third part is the joint venture collaboration part. We call it ecosystem building as well. What is it? We're looking in having own events with startups together, from hackathons, the typical thing that we have a startup challenge here running with Hello Tomorrow together. So here we're also looking really in strong collaboration, and we call it also a kind of family affair, because we truly want to be a partner on eye level. What is the Venture Lab? I think that's what we would like to explain you a little bit as well. So the Venture Lab is part of our global innovation unit with over 320 people worldwide. In this, we have 3 Venture Labs. We have one in Silicon Valley, one in Tokyo, and one in EMEA. So we are the EMEA guys, you can call us. And because we're looking at this geographical coverage of building, finding and scouting investments for startups and also do the collaboration. So overall, we have more than 25 venture projects globally running. Some Michael explained to you, there are many more, so we also can explain to you later. And each of them should follow at least the logic of having a turnover potential of 50 million as itself. So we don't look for the small ones, we don't look for the unicorns. We truly believe there is a market in the middle to enter the market with a very smooth, clear business model. And this business model should have the potential to grow and to build an ecosystem about a single opportunity with what we enter the market at the beginning. We don't need to tell you that we use the standard methods and tools everyone is using worldwide. There's no secrets about it, but I think we have systematically used it. What does it mean? So we have a lot of interdisciplinary team members from commercial evaluation, from venture architects, from products, over tech, over UX, who are capable to build the ventures, or also capable to understand in collaboration with startups together what is important to do to really execute this. And we work in a big ecosystem in Berlin. When we're there, we are now, when COVID is getting a little bit better in the summertime, want to have also on-site events. Also a part of the challenge that we are now here doing with some of you maybe together, has also an on-site presence plant in Berlin, where we all come together at a certain point to have a boot camp and really work hands-on together. So we really truly believe that this kind of ecosystem is essential to put together. And moreover, at the end, what I would like to underline is that we as NGK have a diverse network and a diverse potential of capabilities that we can also bring on the table, either from a manufacturing perspective, from a global distribution network, from a lot of engineers who have a lot of knowledge and different subject matter experts, and also from the venture building perspective, a lot of experts who understand it. And we're more than happy to share that also with you and contribute maybe on your journey in the startup space. So that's from my side. I now would like to hand over to give you an overview about our health area, and Glenn explain you a little bit the vision, what we have regarding health.
Well, thanks very much, everyone. And firstly, it's great to see such a global audience in the chat, from Botswana to Dublin to the UK to the US to India and France, and of course New York and LA. So I think for us, our vision at NGK as far as smart health goes is very simple. Essentially, we're trying to improve the health and longevity really for our population. So it's a very bigger picture theme, but it's very simple in that regard. So, and I think, one of the most important things is really understanding your core competencies. And we have, so for us, it's really focusing on some particular market segments. And the first one, I think, is home health. I think everyone understands that certainly the global pandemic has really dynamically changed both what patients and healthcare systems are trying to do. So we're trying to look at innovative home health and what I call point of care solutions. So technologies and medical devices, or whether that's apps that can be used by the bedside, both within a hospital, but also in outpatient facilities. And I think, to get that sort of a little bit more granular for people, it's about how do you empower clinicians to improve patient lives? How do you bring innovations that improve quality of care? Because the end result is, how do we reduce hospital admissions and lengths of stay? And how can we enable more individuals to be treated at home and still retain that independence, which I think, with an aging population, I think is going to become more and more important. Here in the US, of course, you've got the aging baby boomers. But if we look at Japan and particularly Europe, you're certainly seeing aging's becoming more and more important. And then I think what's really quite interesting is how can we improve access to care, both from a faster diagnosis and also a treatment standpoint. And this is about, providing insight into individual health. And I certainly see, and I think most of you who are joining the webinar today can certainly see the significant changes that are undergoing with really two key enabling technologies. Number one, I think what everyone holds in their hand, a smartphone, and certainly I think software as a medical device, and the, I suppose, lower price point of sensors. This is really changing the game of how people can get more individual insight into their own personal health and how we can really improve patient outcomes. So with that, I think I'll certainly will take many questions as we go through the webinar, but I'll hand it back to the team.
Thank you. So one of the things that we want to share with you is what are the kind of possibilities one of you can have with us after this challenge. And we don't have a one-size-fits-all solution. It will be depending on the case, the startup, the stage, the maturity level, whatever are your needs. And obviously, we will do, okay, what are your assets? What are our assets? What is the solution? What is the problem we can solve together? And based on that, we're going to find a solution. And that can be a collaborative joint venture agreement, can be strategic investment. We can co-develop solution. We can have access maybe to our manufacturing capabilities, depending on the product, but also utilizing our sales channels and distribution channels. And one of the key aspects here that I really want to make everyone clear is that we are a Japanese company. It means when there is a commitment, there is a really trust that can be established and a long-term relationship can be made from that. We already invested in a few startups. One of them is Nova Signal. They are using ultrasound to do drug delivery. And they were very happy with our partnership. Many more on our website if you're interested to check them out. And now I want to a little bit dive into our timeline. We just started the application process, as you may have seen, and by March 31, we will close the application process. And why is that? Is because we want to have some time pressure, get people interested, applying, and please apply even if you're not sure if it can be a fit. Because if we do not use the relationship right now, I am sure that can be a possibility later on. But we're going to select with a global jury, top executives of our company, the best startups that fit to our needs and also our strategic requirements. And based on that, we're going to invite you to a 3 weeks acceleration bootcamp. There will be experts joining from tomorrow, from us. We will bring people from potentially from Japan, virtually or live in Berlin. And after that, we're going to build a really strong business case together that we can pitch June or July to our leadership team and receive investments. There is no limit on the ticket size. It's all about what is our vision and what do we need to make it happen. And if there is a need from our company, everything is possible. With that, I would like to just put these slides here. Daniel is our head in Venture Labimia, and here's his email address. But anyone here is also available for question right now. I am available later on through social media or anything. And we're looking forward now to the question. And we see there are many here, and we're happy to answer that. And for that, we also have Jeff that is here in our call. He is also a very medical expert. So we are just stage for Q&A.
Maybe we can take over here. It's very simple because there are a couple of questions in it. So I think we just can start from the top, if you like. I sent Emily, you wrote something about, does the program need to be medical or can it be safety orientated? Yeah. So I think our channels, our challenge is about home health, so it has a clear scope, and we would like to keep the scope here. What we in general always interested is, and that's, I think there was another question of some participants here, that they are from a different area. We always more than happy to have a one-to-one conversation on your situation that you're facing. Yeah. So if you are on our a kind of business area focus, either in utilities, which is clean fresh water, clean air, and sustainability in energy, which that's utility part, yeah. Either on health, but that's the challenge about here today, or on mobility. We're more than happy to have a one-to-one conversation, get your pitch deck, get understanding what you would like to look at, or collaboration areas that you're looking at. We're more than happy to do that.
Yeah, Daniel, that's a really good explanation, because I think home health can be many things. It can be, how do you prevent people or use technology to understand when people may be losing their balance, or how do you prevent falls in the home? So I think there is as Daniel, as you correctly said, I think there is a fairly broad gamut, but we're trying to be focused on home health as well as innovative point of care solutions.
Thank you, Glenn. I just grabbed your questions which are there. Happy of everyone who can answer some of the question. I think here, Florian, I hope I pronounced it right, asked the question, what is about the policy on intellectual property? Yeah. So I think we should have obviously a clear NDA also for you guys in place, that it's clearly your intellectual property. Yeah. So we are not coming here to get an idea and do it then for us, or either trying to get your intellectual property. There will be different cases that can come out of the challenge. One case can be that we go for a minority or even other investment for the next round, because you guys need money to build the MVP, or either to go to the next stage of building something. That's one opportunity. Once we come to the point, obviously, working together on something which is not there, and we bring ideas in with our teams and you bring ideas in, I think we should just sit there and discuss what kind of intellectual property points we have on the table. So I think what I wanted to say is that there's no interest of us to just get intellectual property for somewhere, but obviously we need intellectual property of building things. Yeah. So that's a very clear point. It's your intellectual property. If we go for investment, we go for an investment. If it becomes a joint venture, there are a lot of let's say lawyers who understand it to make sure also that this is clarified. Glenn, any point you want to mention on this point regarding intellectual property?
Maybe Jeff.
Yeah. Please, Mikhail.
No. I mean, I know that Jeff has a lot of experience with IP strategy, so I was thinking maybe Jeff has some.
I would add that if we're doing a direct investment, it would go through our venture partners, and you would get a term sheet. It would be the standard investment pathway, where we would get some equity in your company for a direct investment. In IP, I think that what would be clear is what's yours is yours and ours is ours, and we would have to form an agreement if it were a joint development on how we would split that up whenever we produced a product out of it. But that's a long way down the path. And currently, we would like to be open and gather together and put out fresh ideas with each other's technologies and see if we can create something new from them. That's kind of what the boot camp is all about. So we would have just a simple agreement that says, if it's your idea coming in, it's your idea going out, and the same with our current technology. That's all.
I think the next one I'm having here is Gary German. what does this program ask from the company, and does the program offers capital in return plus access to customer? I'm not sure if I understood it right, but obviously, if so, the program is not asking for anything. The program is there that we define together ways how we can start collaboration, either on an investment side, collaboration side, and so on. When it comes to the investment, I think Jeff just answered it. Obviously, it's a share of equity, typical cap table discussion, money in for resources, and then the equity in return. So access to customer, to answer that one, it obviously we have a big distribution network, mainly focused on the automotive area, we have to say, to be honest, yeah. But with the expert team that we have in our company, with Glenn teams and other experts, they obviously have a very broad network to industry companies and access to executive levels, where we also can think about open up doors for distribution network and customer access for sales opportunities.
And regarding that, Glenn, maybe you want to add some words about our recent acquisition of Care Inc.
Yeah, so I think, for us, most of you probably don't know NGK specifically, but we do have quite a significant respiratory care business based here in the US. We're in sort of the number 2 or position here in the US, supplying oxygen concentration to the home health market as well as to the outpatient and hospital. So we do also have direct-to-consumer businesses associated with that. So we do have a broad spread of access, as well as that also is encompassed internationally as well. And from healthcare perspective, we do have a lot of core competencies around sensors, oxygen concentration, cold plasma, and as well as a very deep R&D and innovation group. So, essentially what we'll be able to provide not only is a network of, but also, I think, a deep understanding of the healthcare market, its development, innovation, what it takes to get a product to market, and, all the typical things I think that can be hard for a startup, like go-to-market strategy, etc.
We have 2 questions about the bootcamp. One is it mandatory, the acceleration phase after the challenge? And the second is, will it be held in Berlin?
Well, I think the boot camp is mandatory. It's part of how we're trying to determine how we're going to work together, and we can't find that link or that fit without work with the startups in the boot camp. So that's that part of the question. What was the second question, Vincent?
Second part was about the location and if it'd be held in Berlin. What we planned on doing is having most of it remotely, but having the last few days in Berlin all together. And that's, depending on COVID and on many other factors. And to go back on Jeff's answers, yes, mandatory, but the idea is that we will adapt depending on your needs, on the needs of the projects, and on the maturity of the startups that has been selected for the bootcamp. It will be definitely different depending on that. Yeah.
And I guess the question regarding Berlin, maybe you can answer that question as well. Will the travel costs be covered if they are selected to come to Berlin? And I think the answer is yes, right? The travel costs will be covered for the selected startups to come and join us in Berlin. Yeah.
And I think I'd probably like to add one thing too. We've got a really passionate group of individuals here. I think that is a globally based group. We do have a large team in Japan, which are on sort of development, R&D, as well as strategy and go-to-market. But we have an excellent group in Europe, and we've got an expanding group here based in Silicon Valley. But we're very much focused on healthcare. I think I'm fair to say that we've got a group that's really challenging itself to bring more new ideas. I think this is an excellent opportunity for startups who want to have that sort of added incentive, as well as some of the networks that this brings together. So it's a great opportunity to expand your network, gain some more access to different markets, get more global exposure with a company that's very passionate about healthcare. I think we've got a lot of people on the call today. We really do want to make a difference. And I think that's the key component in joining any challenge. This is a group of individuals who really want to do something different. And so we've got a lot of resources behind us. We're very well capitalized. But more importantly, we've got a group of people who want to change patient outcomes. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of inspiration or incentive to, let's try and do some good. And how do we continue to enable people just to live a more fulfilling life and expand their health?
Thank you, Glenn. Glenn, there was one question which maybe goes in the direction of Jeff and you, Glenn. Bastian asked, can you go deeper regarding the use cases you would like to bring on in the market? Maybe to bring some examples about it.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. I saw that, Bastian. So I think some of the use cases you're thinking about is how can you have, I think, sensors, the costs of sensors, whether it be respiratory, whether it be blood pressure, whether it be movement, lack of movement, balance, or very simple things that are related to an individual's health. For example, I think there's been a lot of development looking at respiratory care or COPD. There's been a lot of research at the moment, particularly in sleep quality and how you can use a low-cost sensor together with an app, software as a medical device and a subscription service to help people and monitor their sleep. So that's sort of two very sort of small examples, but thinking of, how you can help someone to be more independent. Maybe it's tracking their medication through an app. Maybe, and I think that's, maybe it's how they can monitor other parameters of their health instead of going to a physician's office. Or maybe there's a better way of collating and interpreting some of their data. Particularly, we're certainly very interested in any deep learning or AI. I think most of us can see that that's certainly an area that's rapidly expanding. So Bastian, I hope that sort of gives you an understanding, but it can be from nursing homes to long-term care to a simple app that tracks their medication, for example, and really everything in between.
And really the idea is to bring value on the whole patient journey, from the early diagnosis to the treatment to the monitoring, for all this journey, right?
I think, Alana, you asked the question, if we are building a medical device, would the venture lab help with design and build? Yes. I mean, we have the capability, especially also with venture builders, to design the product and technically build products, also from a software perspective. So we have resources and capabilities to do that. Yeah? And I assumable that you come with an early stage idea where the business model is proven, the market's there, consumer validate this also as to be interesting. The next phase becomes really designing a product and building a product that capabilities are in-house, and we would need to define how we collaboratively work on this together. Yeah, but it's absolutely possible.
Yeah, and we're working with leading design companies globally, whether that be the ones that the top that are present in Silicon Valley and Palo Alto, as well as those based in Europe, as well as Canada.
Sounds good. It seems all the questions have been answered. Am I correct?
Yeah,
I see. I think one more question, right? Is it okay if the startup is already part of an accelerator, incubator, or if it's working with any other corporates. Daniel, you want to answer this one, maybe?
Excuse me, sorry again.
Sorry, so the question is it working if the startup is already working with another accelerator or an incubator or other corporates?
So if the startup is working already with other accelerators?
Yes.
So I'm sorry, I'm still not sure if I got the question. So if the startups can apply, yeah, Jeff, if you got
I'll take it. So no, it's perfectly okay to work with another accelerator or incubator. The corporations are probably okay, but we would have to look at that as on a case-by-case basis. So as long as it's not if you've signed a contract with them and you're not completely tied up with them, then I'm sure it's okay to do that also.
We have an additional question from Christopher. Would you have interest in prosthetics?
I would say absolutely. That's a point of care solution. Yeah, we'd certainly be very interested. I think having worked with prosthetics as well as in the sort of spinal cord injury field myself, that's an interesting question. If you are able to improve the fitting rate, as we all know that trying to get appointments for individuals with prosthetics in a clinic is very time consuming. So yeah, very interested.
Awesome. It feels like we answer all the questions both from the chat and in the question tab. If we forgot one of your questions, please raise your hand or let us know. Otherwise, you can look at the other in the chat that Marwan sent you the link to the landing page to have a few information about this challenge, but also a link to the application platform. If you feel that you want to be part of this challenge and work with Venture Lab and GK, please don't hesitate to do that. Other comments?
No, I mean, I think the only comment I want to say is obviously it's this webinar is not an end. So once this webinar is over, you can reach out to any of us. Marwan from the Hello Tomorrow team, Vincent as well, always available for questions. You can always find me also for questions, Daniel as well. So please reach out anytime. And obviously, if you don't feel like you're fitting to the challenge, but other startups that are fitting, feel free to recommend them. I think what we want to highlight here is that this challenge is going to be about people, and we want to bring the most passionate, talented people in one room to create a new amazing solution to solve problems, right? And that's what we want to share with you. Glenn, any conclusion words, or Jeff?
No, thanks everyone. I think it's a great opportunity, and I hope that you can help and join us to let's change let's give people longer lives and more fulfilling, and so they can spend time living. I think that's the end of at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Spend more time living.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I do believe that we can help you leverage your ideas into something even better. So please feel free to reach out and continue this conversation with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Don't hesitate to reach out. We've met many impressive people at Venture Lab and NGK so far. So we're really glad to work with this team, and I'm sure you will too. So if that's it, I think we can now stop this webinar and see you soon then. Have a nice day or night.
Day, night.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you
Thanks for
very much.
connecting.
Guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.